Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, the reports persisted.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Boogeyman Radio. Charles, you look forward by that one.
I loved it. I loved it. I think that's my favorite one.
So far, so good. Then we're just kind of ascending.
Wow, that was really good. I really like that one a lot. I've got chills, and I kind of want to shed a tear now because of how awesome that was. Jeez.
In case y'all are wondering why Charles is reacting that way, obviously we're doing this big makeover. We got the new background, the new title, the new everything. We even have a mascot, and right now we're kind of working on a new intro for the show. Last week we debuted our first option. Today we debuted the second option. And next week we should be debuting our third option.
There's
and then
a
once
third
all three
option?
A third option.
Sorry, I didn't know about this, guys. This is all news to me.
We discussed. I talked about this last week.
I thought it was just two. I swear,
No.
it was just two.
It'll be three.
Well, okay.
So after next week, we're gonna put up a poll, and at that point you'll see all three options. I'll play the two options today. After the third one comes out, we'll put up a poll, and we're going to let everybody vote on it.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Give me just 1 second here. Need to check something.
I really enjoyed that one. That one's really cool, especially with was that Bela Lugosi in the background?
Oh, at the end?
Yeah.
Yep.
That
At the end
sick.
from Dracula.
I like that. Yes. Creatures of the night. That was excellent.
Yeah, I like having old movies in the background.
Yes, and the radio, like over the clips, the news,
Do you know where that's from? You'll get brownie
from?
points if you get brownie points if you figure it out.
If I knew where that audio was from?
Yeah.
Jeez. Well,
I'll play it again.
Really?
I'll play it again because I want everybody to see the options so far.
All right.
Okay.
Do it again.
Let's do this again. So this is option number 1.
Hey there, folks! Do you like murder, mystery, and the macabre? Or maybe you're into ghosts and ghouls? Ah! This is Boogeyman Radio, sponsored by nobody, because nobody gives a f***. Here's your hosts, David and Charles.
That was option number 1.
I love it. We should do them on rotate every now and then. Just, instead of the same intro every time, just do them on rotate.
Option number 2.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, the reports persisted.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
War of the Worlds.
Nope.
Okay, that was my guess.
It's actually from Night of the Living Dead. It's the TV
the original
podcast.
Robert.
George Romero.
Thank you, George Romero. I knew I messed it up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was really good.
The TV broadcast that was going on in the background. That's where it's from, and I was like, man, that fits perfectly with this whole thing that we're doing here.
Yes,
so.
it fit very well. Where did you get where did that come from? Like the idea for that one? Did it just hit you?
Just
all right,
brainstorming.
I wish I could.
Yeah, I actually made that one pretty quick too.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. That was a good.
I think I made that in like 30 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. It took me longer on the other one.
So it would take me like 3 hours or something just to come up with the first 5 minutes.
When you're working on something and you get an idea for something else, it's like, okay, we'll store that in my
Yep.
this compartment and stuff like that. That's kind of how it is. Like when I work on stuff and I do it a certain way, like if I'm coming up with a new intro for Haunting History and I think about a new or a different way to do something, I'll apply it to something else later. So,
Yeah.
at least I'm trying it at some point
Right.
instead of just burying it and forgetting about it.
That's nice. Kidding.
Why is it saying we have 0 viewers?
Because I think we have 0 viewers, dude.
This can't be right.
I think we do. I think we have 1 viewer, and it's probably me.
Hold on.
I'll get the page loaded.
Hold the phone.
They hate us. Well, not they hate us, but like Facebook and YouTube hates us.
Probably. That's pretty accurate, but that should not be the case. We're normally like
why don't
8.
you pay to boost your what is it? Let's pay to boost your posts so the people that like your page can see it. How does that make any sense?
Yeah, it's the
They
people
like
that
our
like my
posts.
page,
They should be able to see it.
Yes, exactly.
Ridiculous.
Well, the pay to boost also it sends out the post to other people like that aren't following the page, or
Yeah.
you can pick regionally if you wanted to, like it covers a certain radius of a certain amount of miles or whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh, man.
Just doesn't make any sense. Maybe people have things going on today, even though it's a really cold night. I don't know what else they'd be doing.
I don't know either. But I am going to put the YouTube link on the page just because.
We're still going to talk about people, though.
Yes, we are.
Modern paranormal investigators are important, too. Paranormal researchers, investigators, whatever the hell you prefer to call yourselves.
Yes.
You guys are there, too.
Yeah, so last week we did a show where we talked about the pioneers of the paranormal and from back in the day, and we went really far back.
We did.
And then we decided, you know what? We should pay tribute and give shout outs to some of the people that are doing things that are actually beneficial to the paranormal field, that are doing things today, like modern paranormal pioneers.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to kind of talk about a few of them, and then we actually are going to have a couple guests on at some point that are on this list. They're going to talk about things that they were doing, that they're doing now, and what they've got planned and everything like that. I sent out the links to both of them. Just kind of waiting. But while we're waiting, we can talk about a few others.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go ahead and start this off with a guy that I don't want to say a lot of people know, but like many people in the paranormal field know of him, I guess. You would have to kind of do a lot of work to like understand this guy, and his name is Jay Prather. Jay is a creator and builder of some IDC devices, which is basically communication devices. One of his builds you've definitely seen on Ghost Adventures. And in fact, I might even just play a video. Maybe. I'm trying to use Facebook here to play it and pull it up, but
Facebook hates us.
It's being a jerk face right now.
Facebook hates us. A lot.
Huh. If I go in this way, maybe it'll work.
I think also you got to think this time of year people aren't as drawn to spooky things.
Right.
All right.
So I'm just gonna play one of his videos off of his Facebook page. You guys can see what kind of devices he builds, and let's share screen here. Add that to stream. So Jay Prather is known for the direct link device, which from my understanding is a device that you basically use yourself as the antenna.
Oh, cool.
And you touch a couple metal parts that are built into a receiver, and it does. You actually do power like the antenna portion of it, and you actually do pick up radio frequencies and stuff,
That's
which
pretty
is
cool.
kind of weird. But this is just kind of a sample of some of his devices here.
All right. Well, I don't normally do videos like this, but I'm seeing so much stuff out there with this plug and play parts and pieces that
I love
would
this
be
guy.
used on a stage during a concert. Now, I would think that common sense would tell you that if all that stuff worked for ITC, then when you're listening to Guns N' Roses live, you would be hearing ghosts talk. There's a reason that stuff does not work. The reason it does not work is because it was not built to work for ITC.
Hey, Kelly.
It is built to block out every unwanted noise so that you get a crystal clear rendition
Yeah, there's
of whatever song it is. That's what that equipment is built for.
there you go.
So if you plug and play, you're doing nothing. You do not plug and play. You build it. You absolutely fucking build it. Now here's an Emmett House box.
I like this guy.
And I normally don't show the insides of my boxes anymore, but I'm going to in this case. This is an Emmett House box. Okay? Now this one here has a couple of lasers and some other stuff on it, okay? And that is the circuit. Okay? Now this is the new IDC lab. I'm going to turn this on here. Turn on our tuner. And I'm even going to let you see the inside of this. Now the microphone may get away from us a little bit, but I'm going to try to do it here. Okay? You see all those amplifiers? There's preamplifiers. All right.
There's an
You
echo.
can hear my voice coming through.
Oh, it's him. Okay.
Hello. How are you? That is custom made. Echo boards, everything. All right? So let me go back to this one over here. You see these little boards in there? Those little boards have all been modified. See these little boards here? They come from the factory empty. Empty. Nothing's in them. There's only a bootloader. They do exactly what I tell them to. Not what the factory told them to do, because the factory didn't tell them nothing. I tell them what to do. I create for ITC. This shit ain't plug and play, folks. It don't work that way. Like I said, if it did, you'd be hearing ghosts at every fucking concert you go to. I mean, you know, I'm not going to do this much longer. I'm really not. So I got to start sharing what I've learned over the last 11 years. And that is, you can take stuff that was factory built and you can modify it. It's what we call circuit bending. We make it do something it was never meant to do to begin with. That's circuit bending. Other things, like the little blue boards, they come absolutely empty. All right? So I tell it what I want it to do. And I can change it at any moment. So this is ITC, folks. Little amplifiers is not ITC. Guns N' Roses is not fucking ITC.
I like this guy. I like this guy a lot.
So Jay is one of those guys that will tell it like it is. He is like a no nonsense kind of person when it comes to ITC. Yeah, he's if you follow Jay and see his videos, he'll explain stuff to you. He didn't go to college for, you know, electronic engineering or anything like that. It's just gain knowledge through like work and things like that. And that's how so many other builders are. But Jay's been building devices and personalizing devices so many ways. Like it's pretty cool and phenomenal to see. Jay's part of like this community, this ITC community, that they've been building a lot of different equipment and trying to progress the movement for spirit communication with electronic devices. and that's somebody that I absolutely I love Jay. Jay's a cool dude. In fact, he and Justin Spurrier work a lot together, bouncing ideas and
Oh,
stuff like that.
nice.
Um, so like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah. Jay's a good guy. He's a good guy too. He just seems a little rough around the edges
Now,
because he's that kind of guy. Like it's a no
right.
nonsense kind of thing.
I'm
Takes
not
pride in his work.
fully versed in the technology of ITC.
Right.
And for some people that aren't, what is ITC?
ITC stands for intertrans communication or something like that.
Okay.
I believe that's what it was called. What it's called. It's basically communication through electronic devices where some builders will set up on certain frequencies. They'll some devices will have sweep boards that are built
Okay.
into them, so they'll sweep radio stations, the FM, AM bands.
So for those that like maybe don't, so that I would say probably like the SB7 Spirit Box is an
Yeah,
ITC.
yeah,
Okay, so for the people that don't know, your basic ITC would be a SB7 Spirit Box.
yeah.
Um,
A lot of
now,
modifications out there to this.
yeah. So what do they say that um, where ITC can help you talk to dead, or how does the dead manipulate it so they can talk? Like, what's the whole
Well,
science behind it?
the Earth puts off its own RF frequency
Right.
or frequencies. The magnetic field puts off its own frequencies. When you're scanning when you're just scanning radio frequencies, you're only scanning a portion of that radio frequency. Like I said, there's so many builds out there that are modified to go beyond or like these frequencies on either side of the spectrum. So, a lot of people will put it like in this range and they'll have it sweep that range or they'll have it, sweep this range. And when you're trying to narrow down, like, if spirit is able to write a frequency, pinpointing that frequency is a lot tougher because you're having to go through thousands of individual frequencies to try to communicate. So on a sweep, like with radio stations, like say the PSB7, what you're looking for is a voice to come through on several channels. So
Okay.
like if you get like somebody say Boogeyman radio, but it's sweeping like 50 channels a second or something like that over 50 different frequencies, you're getting this voice writing through.
These are devices that are not pre-programmed with dictionaries. This is straight
Right.
audio
This is
from over the airwaves, basically.
yeah,
Cool.
pretty much. Some people use different methods of doing this. Like John and I, we've got a build that we've got. I've got this right here that we're working with, and I'll show it here. This isn't like a radio per se where it sweeps. This is something that we found some schematics for and we're trying it out. Normal
nice.
call is to use a large amount of germanium, so germanium diodes. Not going to cut it for this build. Inside here, you can see a crystal right there that is connected. And then you have two coils up here. And what we are doing is basically, this is an audio jack from this.
Yeah.
Basically what we're doing is taking that crystal energy, because crystals emit their own energy and frequency. And we're trying to convert that into an audio that we can listen to. So it's basically converting energy into an audio frequency.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
When you listen to this, like, there's no static, or there's not supposed to be any static or any words, radio stations or anything come through this. Basically what you hear is nothing, and then every now and then some pops and clicks. We're not sure why the pops or clicks are there, but what we're hoping at some point is maybe if crystals have anything to do with spirit communication, this might provide some form of that.
Well, I was
They do
going to say, maybe the crystal's cracked.
Well, they do build crystal radios.
Hmm.
They use crystals and quartz, so that's basically the idea behind this. But the original schematics actually call for germanium, which is used in almost every radio. So
Interesting.
it's just germanium.
Cassie, you scared the poop out of me. I had to go change.
The level of germanium for something like that is pretty expensive.
So you can't just like grab it from radios, break down
No.
radios, and
You'll get the little diodes that are like itty bitty. We need a big freaking stone.
Get a lot of radios.
Right.
Radios. Put it all
Get
together.
Like 1,000 diodes and weld them all together. And
yeah, somehow see if it connects. That'd be interesting though. And that's something I've always been fascinated with is just the idea of like energy and crystals and using them all together. Because clearly, to me, the ancients knew.
You're welcome, Kelly.
See, some people, we see all these fancy words and technology, and some people don't know. They just know what's in front of them.
Yeah, you just got to break it down.
Exactly.
That's why Jay was saying, like, if you go to a concert, you're not going to hear a ghost come through the equipment, like, because Jay was getting in that video. Jay was pretty pissed because a lot of people were using like guitar effects pedals and stuff like that on the devices on these spirit boxes. You'll see them. They're built on the side. Steve Huff is really known for putting on these delays and reverb and all that. Those are made to change the noise and cut out noise.
Well, I know Echovox has stuff like that programmed into the settings. Now, honestly, I have no idea how to use any of that stuff. I literally just turn it on and then do like 5 or 6 of the different channels coming through. But I could care less about the reverb or the echo, or it just doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't to me either. In fact, I was speaking with Austin Maynard, who's part of this ITC community, and I told him and he's in agreement with me, and I think everybody else that's a builder in the ITC world is in agreement that we're trying to make clear communications. We're trying to make it better.
Yes.
Why are we distorting it with all these different effects and stuff like that? So,
clearly not clear communication.
Let me get my ears in. Uh-oh.
No echo.
Hang on. Okay. So yeah, there's that. What's up, Josh?
Be like me and have some cool headphones.
Good. Except I'm poor.
Oh yeah, we're doing great, Josh. I mean, you can find a good headset for like maybe $50, maybe.
I'm poor. I thought I just said that.
I guess I'll just have to give you my old one then, or buy you a new pair. Fuck it, whatever.
Oh, don't do that.
Why not?
Okay. I'm gonna move on to another one. Let's move on to another one since we have them on here. We're gonna have a quick guest here for about 15 minutes. Now this is a different type of. He's gonna laugh whenever I call him this pioneer. See, he's laughing. He is making some strides to better the field of the paranormal and especially paranormal research. This is Dan Williams of the PRI. Let's bring him on. Woo! Magic Dragon.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Dan.
Chuck, Dave, what's going on?
Great.
Not much. Just got back from investigating, as you did.
I did. Yes, we were down in KC this weekend, so it's always a good weekend.
How did the experimentation go?
It actually went really well. It's always about the fine tuning. Like I said, we're working on the methodology just to make sure we can get everything straight for the research we're doing for the paper and everything. So it was a long weekend, but it was a wonderful one. I think we got a lot of stuff straightened out that we needed to fix. So
Awesome.
it's all about the investigative parameters, and I think we got everything to work the way we wanted it to. So it was a good weekend.
So for people that don't know you, I know Cassie knows you. She says, "Hi, Dad."
Hey, Cassie, what's up, honey?
So people that don't know you, the PRI was something that you put together to do more in-depth data logging and more real scientific research.
Right. So the concept of the PRI has kind of been years in the making, and we've been working on it for years to get it right. My initial thought was that paranormal research should be more scientific. And that was kind of what I based the PRI on, is let's use science, let's use the rules of science and actually implement them for investigation.
So when you talk about science, and every paranormal team says they use the scientific method to investigate, how would you define the scientific method that you're using versus what everyday paranormal teams are doing?
Whatever it is. Okay, so it's very simple. It's duplication of methodology, and basically a structure to the investigations, duplication of methodology, and what we call data stacking, which data stacking is the more evidence you can get to support paranormal activity, the better you are. Right. And that's kind of the foundation of the PRI, is if you can't duplicate it. I have people all the time that send me really cool EVPs and really cool pictures. And I ask them, what time did this happen? Where did this happen, etc. And they can never answer it. And so then it's an anomaly. It's not evidence. And I think that's one of the biggest things in the paranormal field is anomalies and evidence are very, very quickly confused with each other. And if you can duplicate it, it's evidence. If it happens once in a lifetime, it's an anomaly and it's cool, but it really does nothing as far as advancing science.
Now, one of the things that you use to kind of stack evidence and to collect data is cartography.
Yes. So cartography is actually one of our individuals will sit outside of the investigation on a radio, and they take reports from our active investigators. And basically every minute of the investigation is logged by the cartographer from the time we begin to the time we end. And doing that sets them apart. They then become an objective observer, which I think is incredibly important as far as paranormal activity goes, because when you're in the moment and things are happening, you have a tendency to lose focus. Where the cartographer is sitting in a room or another building or whatever, they can put some perspective on things. And they can actually ask the investigators questions. You know, are you sure there's no cars outside? You know, et cetera. A lot of people use the term debunking. But we can actually do it live in person right at the time, and you're not lost in that moment. You know, you have somebody that's just observing and asking those questions that you might not think of as an investigator. You know, you're spooked, you're creeped out, and you have a calm voice on the other end of the radio going, "Did you look at this?" And so cartography has become absolutely vital as far as the PRI goes, and it's done wonderful things for us.
Now, and that's extremely valuable for like any paranormal team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not to disparage people that are investigating, because no matter how experienced you are, if you're, by yourself and you don't have a cartographer and you do experience something, you do get excited. I don't care who you are. Oh, yeah. You're going to get excited.
I still do. Yeah. I still get absolutely thrilled. And who wouldn't? You know, you're encountering things that you absolutely can't explain. Of course, it's exciting. You know, and that's really where the value comes in with the cartographer, is they can sit there and they can log the things that you're feeling or you're experiencing in the moment. You know, how many teams have gone out and they're like, yeah, we had this really cool thing happen. Okay, well, explain the details, and they can't do it. Those are gone. You know, they're lost in that moment and they're forever gone. And so cartography has made major changes. We can actually now, because like I said, we log minute by minute through the investigation. And so we can go back through 5 years of investigations, and we can tell you when normally active times are. We can tell you when normally non-active times are. You know, and so that's kind of the farthest we can go, but you can pick up a lot of things with data analysis, and that's really where the cartography part of it has gone.
Now, there's an aspect of that you've been talking about. Hang on, and we'll get to that here in a second. Let me read this comment here. This method of recording and time stamping is one lesson I've certainly implemented since meeting Dan and Brandy and the PRI group.
Yes.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. We would love to see any results that you guys get, because, that's the other cool thing is suddenly you have multiple groups that they're following the same methodology. You can start comparing data.
Yes.
You can start saying, hey, we got this. What did you get? And suddenly you can start learning from things. And that's really the whole point of it, is what can we take from the base, and, how can we grow from that?
And what you may have caught as an anomaly for your session, if someone else caught it in a different session, that could be evidence right there. That could become
Absolutely. Yeah,
It's
that's
stackable.
100%.
Yes. That's awesome.
Now you said a key word there is learning, and every experience is learning from the location, what is happening. And part of that process you guys have started integrating, and I want to make sure I'm getting this right, is it REG or RNG?
So it's kind of funny because the actual science switches terms weekly. So they're kind of, either one is equally valid. It's either random number generation or random event generation. We have a tendency to lean towards random event generation just because of the way that we use it.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually log random events, and essentially what it is it's a coin flipper. It flips. It runs 100 cycles, and it does a random generation, either 1 or 2, essentially. And when you have those events, you would expect in 100 coin flips, you'd get 48 to 52 of them would be, heads and tails, if you want to think of it that way. When it goes way above that or way below that, we actually use a threshold of plus or minus 15. And so if you would get 65 to 70 coin flips that are showing positive, or 35, then it's a logged event. And so this thing just runs. It's not connected to anything. It just sits and it does its job. But one of the theories is that random events correlate. So when this thing goes off the beam, when we actually get an REG event, we correlate it to experience paranormal activity. And right now we're about 10 million to 1 against chance as far as running the random event generator against paranormal activity, which, brings up some really, really interesting results. It's essentially, it means that when the REG goes off the beam and we experience a paranormal event, you can go into objective opinion of reality is actually breaking at that point, or our perceived reality is breaking.
Yeah.
And we've got about 3 years of research into this, and the results are actually spectacular.
So what is your goal with the random event generator and the data that you're collecting with it?
So ultimately, what we'll be able to do with the REG is we will 100% be able to walk in, do an investigation, and tell an individual, yes, this place is active, or it's not active. Mm-hmm. And active being there is activity that is paranormal, aka it's above normal expectations of things that are happening. And so ultimately we'll be able to say, yeah, if you want to take it to that level, yes, this place is haunted, or it's not haunted, which has never been done before. So it's really cool stuff.
Yeah. So
for people that don't know who you are, if you would just kind of give them your background and what makes you an authoritative figure in all this.
Well, so the cool thing is I'm not, and no one in the field is, because no one understands the paranormal. And that's what paranormal is. By definition, if you understand it, it's no longer paranormal. We don't go anywhere. So no, I am absolutely not an expert. I have been beating on this problem for about 35 years now. I just want to know the answers. And so I've been researching actively since I was about 17 years old. I'm now 53, so do the math. Just trying. I know. I told you I was old, dude.
No, I can't do math.
So some of your viewers can, I'm sure.
Yeah,
so yeah, basically I'm old, but I've been chasing this for a while. That's why I did the book and why I titled it why I did. So, my book is
what book?
It's called Chasing Shadows, a paranormal primer. And it was completely done because I don't understand this. And a lot of people don't understand this, and they watch TV shows, and the TV shows have this tendency to lead people towards believing the people on the shows are experts in their field. And like I said, that's one of the big things in most of my lectures is there is no expert. If anybody knows how this thing works and how ghosts work and how paranormal activity works, it's no longer paranormal. It then becomes the new normal. And we don't have that yet. No one is an expert in this field. And that's the first thing that I tell everybody. So, we're all trying to find the answers. We're just trying to be a little bit more scientific in the PRI than maybe a lot of other people are. And we're just using scientific methodology. It's not rocket science. It's not magic. It's just use basic science.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, where do you envision this kind of taking off to, like with all the experimentation and work you're doing right now? Where do you see this being in like 5 years?
Well, in 5 years, I hope we're moving forward. Right now, we're getting ready to do our final 3 investigations under very, very structured circumstances. We're going to do them so we can publish a research paper in scientific journals.
Nice.
With actual, paranormal people. We will be vetted by parapsychologists, etc. Our data is lined up enough that, if they publish, that means they said, okay, the data is valid. Where do I see it going? I don't know. I mean, this is step 1. This is the first baby step that should have been taken many, many years ago in paranormal research. So if we can determine when a place is active, if a place is active, when it's active, then you can actually start doing experiments to start understanding the paranormal. Basically, it comes down to we don't understand anything. We don't know any answers. People can guess all that they want, and they can say they're experts all they want. There's no proof cited on any of it because there's no way you can experiment effectively. You don't know if some place is active or not. You can hear stories, but you don't. And so there's a lot of assumptions that are made that this will kind of remove the assumptions. You can say, okay, yes, this place, we've done this methodology 10 times. Right. And this place is active from, 12:35 a.m. to 2:35 a.m. And that allows you then to set up experiments at that time when you know the best chance for activity is. And so you can.
So basically, you're going to be predicting activity at some point.
That's the hope. Hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to be better than most of the weathermen out there. And it's going to be accumulation of data. So,
Wait a minute.
Hold on. What you say?
Are you telling me they're wrong?
You're not? What? Who would have thought the weather was wrong?
Right. But yeah, so basically this is step 1. This isn't the be all end all. This isn't ghost in a box. You're not going to be able to, unpack this thing, run it on your laptop and have it all be good and tell you if all the answers are there. But it's going to give you a baseline that you can work from. And that's really what we're trying for, is to build a foundation that people can learn from. So that's the whole point of the PRI.
Which I commend you on.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
And I'm happy to have been a part of some of your work. And I hope to see my name published in this journal.
Yeah, you'll be mentioned, dude.
There's that one guy.
Yeah, that dude that had the camera.
The cameraman. He'll be cameraman number 2.
Yeah,
there you go. No, I mean, there's going to be years of work. It's not an instant thing. It's like I said, it's the very, very, very first baby step. But at least it's a baby step in the right direction.
And that's what we need. That's what the whole paranormal field needs. Yes. And honestly, there's a lot of work like this, like what you guys are doing, that's just flying under the radar because it seems
TV shows. Well, sorry.
Well, I mean, it comes down to the fact that when you do, you've done them with us, Dave. The investigations we do, they're not super exciting. There is no
Yeah,
screaming,
they
there's
are.
no running, there's no, shrieking. It's
Only in
science.
the after parties.
I mean, I
Yeah,
feel like
well, yeah, there's
I
that.
say I feel like it'd still be exciting though if you're
Yeah.
taking
Well,
part in
yeah,
a
I mean,
different
you
type
get
of
a good EVP, it's always exciting, but
yeah.
there's still not the crazy reactions, and we're not going for that effect.
Yeah.
Every data point is a data point. And
Yes.
so, it becomes a little bit more objective than probably most of the investigations are.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what I love about investigating. To me, every investigation, whether it's active or not active, is exciting because that's something I love to do. Like it's just. So I feel
Exactly.
like with you guys, even just if I was a cartographer, just writing stuff down and thinking of certain questions, that's fun in itself because you got to be quick and on the fly and figure some things out.
The cartographers, honestly, I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. I'm terrible at it. We have some that are really good at it. And, they're not only just logging data points, but they're also keeping investigators off of each other. If somebody starts getting too wrapped up, they're that objective voice that can say, maybe you need to take a break.
Yeah.
So in many, many ways, the cartographer is the one running the investigation.
It's a good Overwatch. Nice. I like that.
So team babysitter.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, what I was getting ready to say is like work that's being done like this flies under the radar because it's not sexy.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
It's not thrilling. It's not pizzazz and everything here, but look over here. Like it's.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's 100%. It's data, and so to go into an investigation with that in mind it's not extremely super exciting.
But data is the most important part, and it can lead to that excitement.
Well, it's the only way we'll ever understand anything. And that was kind of the decision of if we're ever going to understand what's going on, then, we have to kind of step aside and be objective about things.
Absolutely.
There was something else I was going to add to it, but the fact that you guys kind of flew under the radar for so long, and kind of you still are,
which blows my mind, but
but you are getting out there more.
We're starting to. We've got a lot of people who are approaching us and asking questions and things, which is awesome. It really comes down to we're terrible at self promotion. We kind of do the job as it needs to be done, which is, I mean, that's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
So have you got any events coming up where people can come see you and talk to you and shake your hand? And
well, we are absolutely doing your event. So we're going to be down at your event in October. And if the KC Paracon happens, we're going to be down there in August, the first weekend in August. And other than that, people are more than welcome to hit us up on Facebook. They can shoot us an email, paranormalresearchinstitute.com. We would love to talk to anybody that has any questions or anything. So,
all right. Well, Dan, before I let you go, I was just going to let you know I might have some more data for the stuff that I showed you.
The data logger?
Yeah, I might have some really good stuff to show you. I still have to look at it. I'm waiting for files to transfer before I can plug this in.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because that was some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this and sharing it with you guys. But appreciate everything you guys are doing with the paranormal field, and tell Scott I said hi. And
same here.
Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, guys.
Not a problem, bud.
Take care, Dan.
Hey, you too. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, later, bud. Cut him off right there.
What
Sorry,
an
Dan.
Outstanding gentleman, though, man.
And that's the kind of thing that I think the paranormal is missing. They're very humble about what they do, but yet they're actually applying science.
You mean they don't think that they're better than everybody else and that their way is the only right way?
Not at all.
Not at all. It's so nice to see people like that in the para community. Because it's just so waterlogged with people that think they're better than everyone.
Absolutely.
Just because they were able to investigate with certain technologies, or they've been able to investigate certain places. It just blows my mind.
Now, I'm going to mention a couple more. We were supposed to have somebody else jump on here, but I don't know what happened to him.
Actually, I got a question for you. See if you.
Yeah.
So can you? Because I've never really fully understood it myself. Could you explain the science between the Ovilus technology?
So what the Ovilus does is it does have a built-in word data bank, and with every word that's in there, there is a number assigned to that. Now there is some math that happens, and I'm honestly bad at math, but to my understanding, what it does is it measures environmental data like your humidity, barometric pressure, EMF, things like that,
Yeah.
and then it, depending on the readings, it applies a number to that environmental setting, and then that number correlates with a word, and then
Interesting.
that word is supposed to appear on the Ovilus.
Interesting.
Now, because I didn't build it, obviously, and Bill Chappell doesn't reveal any of his
He's not
builds.
going to until he probably dies or he wants to sell off the technology. But I don't know.
I don't know how much of that is actually true, and this is just
Huh.
kind of what I've heard from parts of it from Bill and parts from people who actually use the Ovilus and things like that. So that's, to my understanding, how it's supposed to
Yeah.
work, and
Now-
I can't be 100% sure on that though.
And I've got to say, I feel very like for me, I mean, I felt humbled that I was actually able to use one. Now I don't know the accuracy, but it does seem like every time that I've used one, it's been pretty darn accurate every time I've used it with the words that it comes up with.
Yeah,
It absolutely floors me. Like what was it? Rick Rose brought his to, oh gosh, to the jail one time when he was investigating with us, and he let me use it. This is when I was at Dust to Dawn, and we were doing the 1859 Marshall's Home, 1858, something like that. Anyway,
Jackson County.
Yeah, it was. So he let me use that, and it was crazy. We were talking about, we were in the schoolhouse just outside, and we were talking like, what are you guys learning today? And it was just like, oh, talking about Africa. It's just like that's just wild. But yeah, I've enjoyed using the Ovilus, even though I don't understand the technology exactly.
Yeah, I don't think anybody truly understands it as well as Bill Chappell does.
Yeah.
But I still have my questions to some of it,
Yeah.
like the newer ones. I think the Ovilus 3 has been the only one that's impressed me the most, and that was whenever I used it with Rick Rose.
Yeah, that's the only one I've used too. I don't know about the other ones.
The 5 I've used, I just don't like the fact that it's Bluetooth capable and it goes online and all this other stuff. There's a lot of variables that I don't like about it.
Yeah, that just seems horrible. Like people try to tap into it or what have you. But yeah, Kelly, she brings up a good point. Now I wonder how they decide which words goes with what conditions. Who knows? It comes out and like sometimes, well, there's different modes I know on 3, and there was a couple times that I've used the one where it pops up multiple words like one after another, and it just didn't seem to really correlate. But the one where it says like maybe like 3 words or 1 word, I can't remember which one it was exactly, but there was one that it just seemed like it was really accurate with what was going on around me. But yeah, it's a really neat device. It's a really cool device.
You know, we can talk about it a little bit further on After Dark, because I do have a little bit of a theory on how that would work, and we'll talk about that later. So yeah, we'll talk about that on After Dark, which will be right after this show on our Patreon page. Throw that up there for anybody that wants to join our Patreon page. There it is. We'll be discussing everything a little bit further and talking about a few more people. We've only got 10 minutes left, so we'll kind of get on.
Make it quick.
We'll get on a couple more people here while we're doing this. One of the guys, and I was going to have him on the show, KD Stafford, who, like Jay Prather, is part of the ITC community.
Oh man,
KD also builds spirit boxes and devices like that, but he also does a lot of experimentation. And in fact, some of his builds and a lot of his builds have been on TV, but he's also been on TV with Ghosts of Morgan City. He was their equipment guy there. But this guy, the way his brain works is pretty fascinating. And he was going to join, but he hasn't seen the link I sent him the link for the show on Facebook. He just hasn't opened up Messenger, I guess.
Yeah, it happens.
But we can probably get them on some other time. So the next few people I'm just kind of going to gloss over just because they're not necessarily investigators or researchers or anything, but they're pioneers in their own way.
Absolutely.
And some of these people you might not, when I say you, I don't mean just you. I mean like people that are listening
Yes, you're talking to people,
might
not just me.
disagree with, or you might hate these people or what have you. But fact is, they are considered pioneers when it comes to the paranormal field. The first one I'll mention here is Robin Terry. Now, Robin is not a paranormal investigator. He is an owner of several paranormal active houses and buildings like Ashmore Estates, the Rhodes Hotel, which he has basically donated to the Lost Limbs Foundation, and our theater. The reason I call him a pioneer is because he does so much charity work in the name of the paranormal field that, like, he's partnered with the Lost Limbs Foundation. He's been partners with them for years. And I kind of feel like out of anybody that's ever really done any kind of charity work, I feel like this man has done like above and beyond what anybody else has done. And he does it because he wants to, not because he is trying to get people to come to his place or that he's trying to get advertising or any of that. He just does it because he loves to. And to me, I think that's a standout kind of person. And I believe a lot more people started doing things like this because they see what he's doing.
Absolutely.
The next one, I'm going to throw out an obvious one here. How about Jason Hawes and Grant Wilson?
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely. Whether people like them or not, or whether they don't like them or not, they are a huge reason why the paranormal is really big within the last, I'll say 20 years, 20 years. Like they were on, obviously, like, I mean, people with Most Haunted and other places too, but in America especially, Ghost Hunters pioneered so much.
They were the first American paranormal reality show.
Yeah.
And I'm not counting like Fox's Scariest Places on Earth kind of thing. Paranormal investigating reality shows. They were like the first American show.
And people actually genuinely excited to work and investigate the paranormal.
Yeah.
Not just, I'm doing it for a TV show. No, they were doing it for a while before.
How many people like developed teams because of this show? I know they were part of the reason why I got into it as well.
Same. Oh yeah.
I mean,
same.
I was just watching it with a friend, and we're sitting there like, I wonder if there's anything to this.
Yeah.
And they spiked our curiosity, so we went out and did it, and we had our experiences, and we're like, well, we're gonna do this. I don't want to give them 100% credit for me doing this, but like that was like one of the catalysts.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, this I think they could relate to these guys because in the beginning they were working class people. They had regular jobs. They put their own money into it. They did it at night and did all this stuff. And people saw that, and for 2 decades they've been like the standard. Like, you've got to investigate this way. This is what.
Oh yeah, the model of investigation started. I feel like not started, but with what mostly people use today is their model.
Yeah, it's changed over the last 5 to 10 years. But the basic model for a lot of teams is you go in, you find natural explanations, you try to debunk things, and then you go through what you haven't been able to disprove. And that was the way to do it, because everybody saw that. So Jason Hawes, Grant Wilson, starting Ghost Hunters, those were some pioneers right there. I mean, they were the people, the guys. And then everything changed.
I do have to mention, and whether I don't watch them that much anymore. I don't really have a personal opinion on them anymore. But I remember early on that they would actually use different technologies made by other people, more specifically Bill Chappell. I got to give credit to Ghost Adventures being an actual thing. Like, Do we know that one person specifically hypes up things way too much? Absolutely. But they were always open to trying different technologies and different ways of contacting spirit, not just the same way over and over and over and over and over again.
See, and I'm glad you brought them up too, because that was somebody I was actually going to mention was Zach.
Oh, really? Okay, good. All right, cool.
Again, because he's a controversial figure.
Yeah.
Love him or hate him, he has influenced the generation of ghost hunters.
Dude, not to mention he has his haunted museum. He owns so much haunted property itself. Like, he's making waves in the paranormal field, whether you hate him or not. Like,
yeah, he's making moves.
Yeah, that's.
And he's
sucks, but
I believe he's the reason, the influence for this influx of people making their own, like the amateur filmmakers making their own paranormal shows. He's influenced people to explore and do that kind of thing. Not to mention,
you see all the really thrill factor paranormal YouTube channels where people, oh my God, you see that guy like that. I feel like that kind of comes from the same energy or atmosphere that Ghost Adventures would give off too.
Right.
It was all the hype and craziness, and it gets the views and it gets the likes, and that's just what sells on YouTube.
I've got a few more, but I'm going to mention one more, and then we're going to probably.
I'm going to mention one more. Well, I'm going to mention two more technically, but
okay.
To me, just because they're really great friends of mine and I love them to death.
I know who you're talking about.
Ron and Denise Pridemore. Every single time. They, like, Denise and Ron have helped me so much within the last, I don't know how many years that I've known them now, but it's been a while. And I can't thank them enough with how much they've helped me, how much they've involved me, coming along with them as far as, like, if it was guest events or just getting people together to talk about ghosts or their New Year's Eve party, whatever. It's just, it's been a great life knowing them and learning from them and to carry that knowledge going forward. Now, one more person I got to mention.
Hold on. Before we move off them.
All right, fine.
I want to throw in there also that, they were former tour guides of the Sally House. So, that's kind of where a lot of people might know them from, but they are guides for other locations. But they exemplify accuracy in historical research.
Oh, 100%.
The information, and not just obtaining it, but presenting it in a factual manner, I think is something that is lacking in a lot of departments of these paranormal teams and things that are out there. And Denise and Ron, they always put it out there the way it is. They don't sugarcoat it, and I think that's very important.
I love the realness that comes from them. It just it means a lot.
Yes.
It means so much. But exactly, yes, Cassie knows them quite well as well. It's they have such a good network of people, of hearts that they've touched, and just people they've gotten to know, and it's amazing. It's really cool.
You said you had one more?
Well, actually, I got real quick. It's kind of funny. I actually met Denise and Ron through a paranormal event, even though their daughter was dating like one of my best friends. So I had met them actually at a paranormal event instead, before meeting them through my friend. So it was just kind of funny how that all lines up. But I do have one more to talk about. Do you have one more, or are you good?
I have one more, but go ahead and do yours.
All right. Well, I got to throw out no other than our own David Glidden.
Oh.
Because I just, hold on. How many seasons of Haunting History do you have?
We actually just started shooting our 6th.
Exactly. You're not afraid to use new technologies, new methods. You've been around for quite some time, you and your team. Not to mention you've got your Paracon coming up, which that's something I know you've been wanting to do for a while now. You've got films you've been trying to work. Like, it's just, well, shoot, you're Into the Light 1 and 2, working with Josh Hurd. Like, so you got to give yourself some credit too, man. You've been along this ride as well.
Yeah, I
know you don't want to talk about yourself. Don't worry, we got you covered.
Right. So moving along.
Yep, moving right along.
Moving along. You're embarrassing me. This one.
Is that a little red I see? Is that what that is?
A little blush.
That's weird. You're not drinking whiskey, are you? I'm kidding.
No. So this one's not necessarily a ghost hunter. This one I think is a very important person, and this is still the paranormal field. Dr. Jeff Meldrum. Jeff is a professor of anatomy and anthropology at the Idaho State University. He's a avid Bigfoot researcher, and in fact, let me just kind of read like his little bio here. He teaches human anatomy in the graduate health profession program. His research encompasses questions of vertebrae, evolutionary morphology generally, primate locomotor, and adapt. This is gonna be a lot of big words. Adaptations, more particularly and especially the emergence of modern human bipedalism.
Okay.
Uh, he's got books that he co-authored and edited about the subject. His interest in the footprints of Sasquatch was piqued when he examined a set of 15-inch tracks in Washington in 1996. Now his lab houses well over 300 footprint casts attributed to this mysterious primate.
Jeez.
He conducts collaborative laboratory and field research throughout North America and the world. He's been in China and Russia. I just lost you. Oh, you muted your mic. Okay. He's also spoken about his findings in numerous popular professional publications, interviews, television, radio appearances, public and professional presentations. He's author of Sasquatch Legend Meets Science, which explores his and other scientists' evaluations of contemporary evidence and also affords deference of tribal people's traditional knowledge of the subject. He also published 2 field guides, one focusing on Sasquatch and the second casting the net more broadly to consider the potential of relict hominoids around the world. And so he's been in the whole Bigfoot hunting game for almost 30 years. So and the fact that he's got such a background, he's more apt to be able to scientifically study these prints, study the primate, because that's what I believe it to be, is a primate.
Yeah.
But it's a special kind of primate.
Yeah.
But his research, I mean, has been pretty evolutionary with how a lot of research has been done. And that's why I want to say shout out to Jeffrey Meldrum. Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum.
That's a good one. I didn't even know who that was. That's really cool. See, that would be like, what's nice
Thank you,
is
Kelly.
with each network of people that we don't know, it's like everybody in this field obviously knows more paranormal people. Like, whether it's scientific or what have you. Like, it just, like, I may not know everybody, but you know a lot of people. Cassie knows a lot of people. I'm sure Kelly knows a lot of people. I'm sure Josh knows a lot. Well, maybe not a lot, but they have certain people they like to watch or listen to. But,
yeah,
you know, it's really cool that you can branch out and network and really get to know people. And it would be good every now and then to give these people the recognition they deserve for their hard work.
Exactly. And that's what we wanted to do with this show, was kind of talk about those people, give them shout outs. If you haven't heard of any of these people, you can find them on Facebook. Go follow them, see what they're all about, and judge for yourself if you want to keep following them.
And I know there's tons of people out there that are involved heavily in the paranormal world, whether it be ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, just different weird things about the unknown that are trying to advance things and make things known. There wouldn't be a place for paranormal if there wasn't something there, right? Mm-hmm. There's obviously something there, and we're all trying to search for it and hunt it down, just in our own different ways. Yeah. So even if we didn't mention your name and you come across our podcast, give us a shout out. Let us know what you're doing in the paranormal field or what your passion about the paranormal field is. Like, we love talking about this kind of stuff.
In fact, I just talked with somebody I'd never talked to before this last week, and we were on the phone for like 4 hours talking about paranormal and research. So, yeah, if you're just catching the show, I mean, definitely hit us up. We're more willing to talk about it. Guys, that's going to do it for our show tonight. We got to switch over to our Boogeyman Radio After Dark, where we'll continue this conversation and then some. At the beginning of the show, I did show the 2 new intros that we're putting up for vote. Next week will be another new one. I'm going to cycle the 2 again, so if you missed the first ones, we're going to show it again. These are the 2 potentially new intros for the Boogeyman radio show. And after the third, we will let you guys vote. So here's number 1 and number 2.
Hey there, folks! Do you like murder, mystery, and the macabre? Or maybe you're into ghosts and ghouls? Ah! This is Boogeyman Radio, sponsored by nobody, because nobody gives a f***. Here's your hosts, David and Charles.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night.
Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, the reports persisted.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
I flipping love those.
It's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be
It
a tough
is. Oh my
vote.
gosh. And I cannot wait to see the third one next week. Ah.
All right, guys. We will see you next week. We haven't picked out our show topic because
It's been
Find
a
out
long
why.
weekend.
find out why on the After Dark. We'll see you guys there. If we're not going to see you there, we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Appreciate it, each and every one of you. Good night.